What up, Mattlebees? Today, we are exhausted. And I know I talk a lot about me being exhausted, but you know it's bad when this one is exhausted.
All of our traveling is finally caught up to me, so when we have like traveling and work and YouTube, it's like
too much. So we decided today we're just gonna react to your assumptions. I suggested a Q&A, but then Madison was like, we just did that. So we came with something a little bit more creative. I'm gonna try to do them kind of rapid fire because we have like 30 of them and the rest of them are just repeats. So we're gonna answer all of them, but it's gonna take a minute. So first things first, I think we got this because we just got back from California, but it is your undercover potheads. When we are in places where it's legal, if we travel to California, Colorado, I personally, when I lived in California, smoked a lot, but it's illegal in Texas, so we don't do that here at all. And Madison actually has like an aversion to smoking in general, if you want to tell them about it.
my mom actually recently passed of lung cancer, so I have a complex with smoking and I just don't smoke.
That's your answer. We're not secretly potheads not talking about it. Okay, your turn.
You each need your space and downtime to keep the relationship strong and healthy, and that is absolutely true. Shelby is a hardcore introvert and needs her space. So if you watch my story on Instagram, sometimes I'll go and like pop in and like scare her, bother her, because I think it's funny. I know you wanna rub, I know you wanna touch, I know you wanna feel, so baby keep it real. I know you wanna see, I know you wanna be in my BED, running slowly. I know you wanna rub, I know you wanna touch, I know you wanna feel, so baby.
What are you doing?
But she definitely needs downtime, so we try to make sure we have that. And I'm extroverted, so if I ever need to go off and like hang out with friends or whatever, we definitely do that too. And we use a lot of our weekend time actually to spend time with each other and vlog content for you all. Right. And us. We're always trying to find something fun to do.
Yeah, and I also there were a lot of questions that were like, you two are complete opposites or whatever. In many, many ways, we are not opposites at all. We are the same. All of our like beliefs, morals, passions, they're all very aligned.
Yes.
But we definitely differ a lot in, I don't know, what do you call that? Like where people say like if you're introverted or extroverted, that's where you like heal and you get your energy from. I get mine from being by myself and like she gets it from being with friends. Take that for what you will.
Pause.
I know, I was like, is she crying about something? Madison's having a breakdown because we have box lights on. Oh my goodness, it's okay.
This
all right.
is only the second assumption.
Stop. Okay, the next assumption is Shelby does all the cooking. Okay, first of all, I do all the planning. Every grocery that enters this house, every meal that is planned is all from me. I used to cook absolutely everything and Madison would do the dishes. Madison's doing this because within the last month, she has taken it on herself to prepare the meals that I plan on her own when I am busy. Did you have something else to say about it?
I'm pleading the fifth on this one.
No, really. Within the last month, Madison has been cooking on her own just because if you guys watch my secret newsletter, I'm going through a lot and so just like taking a break from life, you know what I mean? So Madison has been cooking on her own, but meals that like I've bought and the plan, like the directions are all planned out for her. So she's been cooking more, but I would say typically, yes, I do all of the cooking. Okay, your turn.
This next one is actually from one of our friends, Sedona Christina on YouTube. She said her assumption is that we're moving to Seattle. Because literally the last time we saw her in Seattle, she was hardcore trying to push us to move there because it would be awesome to have a friend like her in Seattle and get to hang out all the time.
Right.
But this is a false assumption. We are not moving to Seattle, Christy. If anything, Shelby's got her heart set on the Bay Area.
She knows that. She knows. I told her I don't want to live in Seattle. I really want to live in San Francisco. I might meet you somewhere like in the middle and do Portland. Yeah. But yeah.
So that is a no.
Okay, also we got some questions. So like segueing off of that about Texas. These are the 3 questions we got, or like the different questions we got about Texas. 1, you're sick of living in Texas.
Ooh.
You think the governor of Texas is a dangerous idiot. And you and Shelby, this was on Madison's Instagram, so you and Shelby have a difficult time living in Texas given the overall political climate there. We've talked about this before, I think a lot of you know, but the reason we're still here is because of family. My recent traumas have also been because of family, and so it's got us thinking a little bit about leaving Texas. Not particularly because of the politics, because I think in my opinion, it almost makes more sense for me to stay here so that we can change some of the things that I personally see are not progressive about Texas. And yes, I think our governor is an idiot. Do you have anything to add there?
I mean, that pretty much sums it up.
You guys know me, I can talk a lot and we have a lot of things to get through, so I'm not trying to spend too much time on them.
Okay, for this next assumption, it is that you guys met online. So we actually did not meet online, which the internet is great for meeting people, by the way.
Right.
But we were fortunate enough to actually meet at Texas A&M. Yes, the two lesbian liberals, environmentalists, met at Texas A&M. We had an oceanography course in 2014 or something, where we became lab partners, and it was basically history from there. After we both broke up with our, we were actually both with people when we met.
Yeah.
Shelby was with her boyfriend of like 5 years, and I was with some like chick that I'd been dating for like 3 or 4 months. And we each broke up with our significant others and then got together.
But it wasn't like that. We were like genuine best friends for probably like 6 months before anything ever happened. There wasn't even like a hint of anything happening until it did. And then it just like took off so fast, right?
Yeah, that's true. No, I totally left that out. Yeah. It wasn't like we stopped. We
met each other. We're like, break up with your boyfriend.
No.
It wasn't like that.
Like at the time, Shelby wasn't even, you know, she had never been with a girl before. I was her first and last. And then, yeah, I was with my girlfriend, so we had no idea, like, we were just kind of best friends, and we hit it off because of lab, and then one thing led to another, and here we are, what, 7 years later?
That's correct. We just celebrated, well, not even just. This year's going by so fast, but our 7-year anniversary passed in April. Our 1-year wedding anniversary is coming up super quick.
I know. So we've been married for almost a year. We have 2 chickens and a cat and a house, and here we are.
Leading off of that, this is interesting. You have small arguments, but all the time, but never fight.
Everybody fights.
Right.
I mean, let's be real about that right now.
Well, I was thinking about it, and I feel like if I answered this question like 2 years ago, I'd be like, we fight, okay? Like, there are fights. But I can't remember the last time we really had a fight.
Yeah. I mean, we don't really fight too much anymore, but we've definitely been through stages, and like we're huge advocates of like self-care and going to see therapy or whatever if you need it, and sometimes you just need a third opinion, like someone to hear each of you out.
Not even if you need it, like it's really just a good practice to learn communication and to not just hold things in, because in our experience, the way therapists will like pull things out will help you resolve things that otherwise would build resentment.
Yeah.
And like you don't even know it. We don't even have tiny fights very much anymore. But it's been years and years of like learning each other's habits and communicating and therapy. If you'd asked us a few years ago, we probably would have told you, yeah, we fight. We haven't done that in a while.
Which is crazy, because you'd think with people, not crazy, but with people being inside a lot more, like around each other all the time, like both of us work from home. Somehow we managed not to piss each other off throughout the day. So it's pretty nice.
Well, also, at the beginning of lockdown, it was also a little complicated because obviously that was a huge adjustment period. But now it's not a problem.
This next one says Madison has always been a tomboy and
I thought you would get a kick out of that one.
and always loved animals.
Also, do you guys know anybody named Madison who spells their name like this? Because people spell her name like this all the time, and we're like, why? I don't know anybody named that.
I don't either.
No hate to the person who did it. I'm just saying, I wonder why so many people do it.
Yeah.
Or like, is it just a thing when you're typing, like when you hit a D, you're so used to double hitting it that you just do it?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
But it's Madison with 1 D, but it's all good.
Okay.
Back to the question. I have always been a tomboy. Like, I've always been around dudes and like playing sports and running around with guys, and I didn't have a lot of like female friends growing up, I guess. And then later in life it was like, hey, actually when I was always with my dude friends and they were commenting on girls and stuff, it's like, oh, I was looking at girls and stuff too, and then I found out I like girls and so on and so forth. And then have I always loved animals? Well, I've had kind of a difficult relationship with animals. I honestly have a lot of childhood trauma with my mom not treating my animals the best, or them dying and us not having the funds available to get them proper care and stuff like that. I don't hate animals, but I'm not really fond of them. Like I wouldn't opt to have any pets, but I definitely like do my part since we have pets and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the questions we'll get to later. Well, or we could just address it now since it segues nicely. But one of the questions was like, you do things just to make Shelby happy, or like there are a lot of things you don't like to do, but you're doing because of me.
Accurate.
Madison has a lot of like things that like she doesn't like that are pretty important to me. Like the animals, like the chickens, it took me like a month to convince her to get them or to come to a compromise where she was like, yes, okay, I like this idea. And we do that a lot. Like, there's a lot of compromise. I think Madison ends up doing things that she wouldn't do if she were on her own.
Yes.
But we do it because of me.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a true assumption.
Okay.
Okay. This one is that Shelby doesn't like children. And I think if you had asked me a few years ago, this would have been a hard, like, yeah, I hate kids. I don't think I hate them now. I just think it's hard to relate to them. And also it's like, if you don't know a kid, right? I hate being around kids that are like rude, disrespectful.
Yeah.
But that's mostly an issue of like the parents, not so much the kids, because when you get to know a kid or you get around the kid that doesn't have those issues, then I have no problems with them. I really hate that kids are like, sometimes just inconsolable and wild, and it's just not really aligned with my energy. But like Madison's nephews, I love them to death, even though they're insane.
They're crazy.
And my little cousin Kinley, like when she was a kid, love her. So it's not that I hate all kids, it's just like I'm easily irritated. I'm easily irritated, and kids are irritating.
Yeah. So. Kids are very irritating, but right on. It's like when the parents don't teach their kids and they're crazy, it's not fun to be around them. It kind of makes you dislike them. But if you're a nice, well-behaved kid,
not looking, we can hang out.
Yeah.
There's this little bump in the back of my head. Y'all see this? I don't know why. It's bothering me. I can see it in the camera.
What are you doing over there, Bumpy? So this one says, you, as in me, were the first to say I love you. I'm laughing because I was not the first to say I love you. Shelby was actually...
Why is that funny?
Shelby was actually the first one to say I love you, and she said it within like 2 weeks. Like, I kid you not. 2 weeks, she was head over heels, she was ready to go. I feel like so many people are like, oh, I don't know when to say I love you, I'm so hesitant. Like, because there's a lot wrapped up into a I love you, like a lot of feelings. But Shelby was committed, she was there, she was in love.
I think I also said that too. I was like, I really don't think I should say this, but like I can't help it. I think I said that, no?
Yeah. And I was like, okay. I don't remember if I said it back. But yeah, definitely Shelby was the first to say that early on. And I was probably shocked.
Okay, but also, like we said, like I said, like we were friends, and then when we started like liking each other, I guess you could say, it went very fast. Like once Madison and I started dating, we have lived together ever since. So yeah, it was a very fast relationship. Honestly, like most relationships like that, I feel like don't last. I feel like we got lucky.
Yeah, but I mean, Shelby had that U-Haul ready to go. She just full tank of gas.
I will say that like stereotypes about gay people are like irritating sometimes and like have a bad reputation, like a lot of the ones that are out there. But the lesbian U-hauling, not just in our relationship, but like every lesbian we know, it is so true. Like, it's so weird.
Still a stereotype, but I mean, dang, it's pretty spot on most of the time.
Yeah. I'm just going to do this one really quick because it's a quick one to answer, and then maybe I can do two. But it's drain in your shower is always clogged, because we're two women who have a lot of hair.
What? What is this?
We have a shower drain catcher, so it's never clogged. I don't think we've had to declog it, right? Or did we?
No, we haven't had to declog it.
So get yourself a drain catcher.
Oh, yeah.
Important.
Madison will be carrying y'all's first kid in the belly, obs. Both of us have absolutely no desire to carry children, so nothing's going in my belly besides food. And
when I read this to her, she said, unless our baby is food, hell no.
Just the thought of like having a kid, like vaginally or C-section or whatever, you can literally die.
I think the whole process of being pregnant is too fucking much.
Yeah, I think that too. I mean, all of it is just not for me.
Okay, good job. Shelby is more serious or aggressive on sustainability.
Yes. Have you seen her YouTube channel? Are you kidding? I have this little lifestyle channel that I do about us, but I definitely could not put in the research and the time and like all that it takes to do what she does. It's so complicated.
I was on the phone with my sister the other day, and she had me on speaker, and my cousin was there. I was talking about the Zero Waste Transformation series I'm working on with a college student, and I kept saying like the university, da da da. So my cousin was like, "Is Shelby changing like her content or something?" And I was like, "No, why would you ask that?" And she's like, "Well, you keep talking about like college and college students." And I said, "I don't think I could talk as much about anything as I talk about sustainability. And I don't think most people could talk about it as much as I do."
Yeah, absolutely not. Like Shelby is definitely woke when it comes to sustainability, and I do my part, you know, but I'm just not shouting to the rooftops like she is.
Well, I mean, and to be fair, you only became a sustainability environmental science major because I was already one.
No.
So she's just kind of riding the wave over here.
Shelby likes to tell herself that that's not true, but that's fine. Okay. I have the next one.
Okay.
The next cars you'll get will only be electric. I would love for my next car to be electric because I currently don't have a car right now. But I think I'm shooting for more of a hybrid just as technology continues to develop. I mean, it'd be nice if there were chargers everywhere, but there aren't. We live in a state where it's just not the most ideal because you have to travel such far distances between one place and another. So ideally, like hybrid's probably what we're leaning more towards. And Shelby already drives a hybrid, so.
I think for the current state of the world, a hybrid is the best solution because honestly, right now, we don't drive short distances. Like, we very rarely use the car because we work from home. Mm-hmm. But whenever we are using the car, it's always for long distances. And we couldn't even get from here to my parents' house, which is probably the place we go to and from the most often. We couldn't even get there on one charge. And I have not seen any charge stations between here and there. And even if they were, do you want to stop in the middle of a 4-hour road trip and sit around for 30 minutes anyway, you know?
Yeah.
So I think as it stands right now, a hybrid is what's next in the cards for us. But I'm excited to see that technology continue to grow and be more feasible for people who live in situations like we do.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, when the technology is there, we're definitely like all in on electric. But currently it's just not in the cards for us.
Yeah. This one says, Shelby is really bossy. Still love you too. Okay. Listen, I pride myself on being self-aware. So will I say that the way I present myself, people would perceive it as bossy? Yes. I personally feel that I am very opinionated and like very strong in my feelings. And as I said earlier, very easily irritable. So I think if you interpret that as bossy, yes, but that's not my intention. I just have very strong opinions. What do you think?
Okay. Yes. Shelby is very opinionated and very passionate about things, as well as just sometimes the anxiety within her causes her to have certain reactions to things. And I'm also super chill, so that probably doesn't help. But Shelby definitely can be a little bossy sometimes, but we're still working on it, and you know, she's come a long way. Yeah. This assumption is true.
I think it's true, but I think sometimes in the vlogs, like I get an unfair like criticism of that because sometimes, like for instance, not that long ago we were like getting sunflowers out of the sunflower, you know, and I was like, show them the side view, and she turns the sunflower, and it's not the side view, and I'm like, the side view, and she turns it and still not the side view. So I say, the side view. Like show them the side view, the side view, the side view, so they can see the seeds. I already saw that like this.
Oh.
God. And then like people think that's me being bossy, but it's like, we're just, you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like that's unfair, but I will take this assumption. I will say it's true.
Okay.
Oh. Well, let me say, leading off of that one, because this one is very similar, I will say that I could be perceived as bossy in some situations, but in others, not at all. Because this assumption is that y'all don't confront people's unsustainable choices in public. And I think that we don't.
Yeah, I'd say that we don't, unless it's family.
But even then, we really don't.
Sometimes we do.
Sometimes, but not very
always.
often.
It gets exhausting sometimes when it comes to family more so. Because it's like you feel like you can talk openly to them, but it's like, how many times do I have to tell you to put your reusable bag in your purse? Lisa.
How many reusable bags do I have to get that are so convenient for you to use and you still like don't?
Yeah.
Or just put like one thing in a bag. Just don't get me started. But I will say that like, yes, I'm super passionate about sustainability. Yes, I can be bossy, but I won't go out of my way to combine those two and attack someone. I just don't.
Yeah. The thing too is when you're hitting brick walls with family, that's one thing. And then to go out and like try and get a stranger to change, you have to want to change for change to be implemented. Right. And most people just don't. So your efforts are much better on the internet where people want to change.
Right. I think well, okay, let me not get too far into this, but for a while I didn't think I should make a channel about sustainability because I thought the people I was talking to would already know everything I was saying. But that's not the case. On the internet, what happens is someone is interested in living more sustainably, and I can help them learn how. And so that's the relationship, and that makes a lot more sense to me than confronting people in public.
Yeah. So this one, it hit me. That you are the more manly person in the house and Shelby makes most of the house decisions. I am not a man, so I don't know how I could be more manly. And then Shelby makes most of the house decisions. It depends what you mean. When it comes to maintaining the house, I'm like, we need to do this or that, or like all these different things that need to have to do with like maintaining the house. But Shelby definitely makes all of the decisions with the house when it comes to decorating. As you can see, her aesthetic is pretty important when it comes to, obviously, YouTube. No one wants to look at an ugly house. And then Shelby also really loves plants. I just tell her don't turn the place into a jungle. But we both kind of have different decisions when it comes to the house, and I don't think either of us make all of them.
I think, yeah, like I don't think any decision is made without a conversation though. Yeah. I buy a lot of plants, but like pretty much when we moved in here, that was already like a known thing. So I wouldn't even say that those are like decisions if I buy a plant. But like if we need to like buy something big for the house, like the AC, or we need to get something redone, or yeah, I don't even really know what decisions, but pretty much every decision made is made together. It's never like only one of us is speaking for the house. Yeah. And I understand that the stereotypes of what they're saying is like you're the more manly one, which just gets annoying as a lesbian couple to always be like, which one of you is the guy, because neither one of us is a guy. Yeah. But I understand like the stereotypes they're asking, like you do the more manly things in the house, like for sure Madison's better at like traditionally male roles, repairing things,
cutting the grass.
Right, she does that stuff. Taking out the recycling, that's all her, like, you know. So, sure, fine, but yeah. This was really weird, modern hippie. I don't know what this was about, but the assumption is you guys are rude in person. As I just described, I would never, like, call anybody out in public. I really hate conflict. I really hate like attention. I hate when attention is on me, so I don't try to attract it to myself. In public, I actually get frustrated with Madison if she like attracts attention to us. And the last thing I would ever want to do is be rude to someone who is like going through a hard time, just having a shit day, who does a minor like thing that inconveniences me. I'm never that person. I hate to be that person.
Yeah. And then I would definitely never be rude to anyone. I just don't know why someone would say that. I feel like I try to be so nice and I have a really kind, chill personality, so I'd have no reason to be just rude to people.
I also think like if you asked anybody in our personal lives, like no one would tell you we were rude. No one would say that about us.
There you go.
Madison likes driving more, but Shelby actually drives more.
Madison doesn't have a car. And then Madison also hates driving. I wish I lived in a place where public transportation was feasible for me to take everywhere. Yeah. Cars are nothing but freaking money wasted on maintenance and monthly payments.
And if you're stressful. Leasing a car. Driving is so stressful.
Yeah, having someone drive you around is super chill. I definitely don't like driving.
I also hate driving. So the only reason I drive more right now is because she doesn't have a car, but also just traditionally throughout our relationship, we've We've actually had a few cars throughout our, I guess 4 different cars. And the person who is driving on any given day most likely is because they have either the car that's more reliable or better gas mileage. It's always been like that. Like when I drove an Explorer, we took Madison's car everywhere. Now that I drive a Prius, before she got rid of her Civic, I drive everywhere because the gas mileage is better. We both hate driving. Same. I wish we lived somewhere where I did not have to drive because it's so stressful, and I wish I didn't have to do it, honestly. You guys spend a lot of money when you travel.
Yes and no. Like, everybody saves up for trips and obviously spends a lot more money than they usually do when they travel. So in that aspect, yes, but it's like we're not renting entire floors of hotel rooms or driving like freaking Jaguars everywhere. We're driving Shelby's Prius to Florida. We're going to California and staying with Catherine. Like, every now and then we do like to get fancy, so does everybody, but we're not like cashing out. We try to live very modest lifestyles, whether we're traveling or at home.
I would say that like in the past we traveled a lot cheaper. Like, we used to have no money, but still obviously loved traveling. I think we did like a whole road trip out to California and back for like 2 weeks on like $1,000, which was crazy. So we know how to travel cheap, but now we have the ability to stay in places that are not scary or make us feel uncomfortable. So sometimes we do that, but still, even then, I wouldn't say we spend a lot of money when we travel. I never feel like we're overspending, so yeah, that's good.
I don't either. I mean, literally on our honeymoon, we car camped at some park.
that was like for old time's sake, though. That was like, but also like, I don't know if like things were a lot cheaper on our honeymoon, but that's obviously my last big travel experience, and things were cheap. Like, we were staying in historic hotels for like $100 a night. Listen, I watch a lot of influencers. I have over the years been like very invested in YouTube culture, and I see what some influencers do when they travel, dude. $20,000 a night hotel. I mean, I couldn't afford that even if I wanted. But like, you know what I mean? There is a lavish way to travel, and we most certainly don't do that, so.
We appreciate you submitting your assumptions via my Instagram. We do these periodically, so be sure to look out for them on my Instagram. Thank you all for watching, and until next Saturday, catch you later, Maddelbees.
We did it the right way that time.